Sam Altman needs $7 trillion. That's not a typo, $7 trillion. That's more than the GDP of every country except the US and China, 3 times Apple's entire market cap. But here's the thing, but OpenAI, the company he runs, is losing $5 billion per year. They burn through $15 million every single day. 54% of fund managers believe we're in an AI bubble. Some analysts claim it's 17 times larger than the dot-com frenzy. Yet the investments keep pouring in. If you're hemorrhaging billions, why would anyone give you trillions? The AI industry is worth over $200 billion today. Microsoft is spending $80 billion on data centers. Meta announced $40 billion. In 2024 alone, AI infrastructure spending exceeded $200 billion globally. The entire dot-com bubble saw $300 billion over several years. We're approaching that in a single year, but most companies aren't making money. OpenAI loses $5 billion on $3.4 billion in revenue. The unit economics don't work. Not yet. Mark Zuckerberg admitted Meta might misspend hundreds of billions on AI. His response? The risk of building too slowly is even higher, because if superintelligence arrives and you're not ready, you're out of position on the most important technology in history. So here's the real question. Is Sam Altman a visionary who sees the future clearly, or the greatest salesman of our generation, convincing the world to fund an impossible dream? This is the story of how one man convinced the world to gamble everything on artificial intelligence. Before OpenAI, Sam Altman was learning Silicon Valley's most valuable skill, how to raise money. At 19, he dropped out of Stanford to build Looped. Over 8 years, he raised $30 million from top VCs. In 2012, Looped sold for 43 million investors, barely broke even. But Altman had proven he could raise serious money. In 2014, Y Combinator made him president at 28, the most prestigious startup accelerator in the world. For 5 years, he met every ambitious founder, every major investor. He learned what made people invest, what made them believe. In 2015, he co-founded OpenAI, a non-profit dedicated to ensuring AI benefits humanity. The initial pledge, $1 billion. But by 2018, progress was accelerating. In 2019, Altman created a capped profit structure. Investors could earn returns up to 100 times. Microsoft invested $1 billion immediately. Then GPT-3 arrived in 2020. The model could write essays, answer questions, translate languages, write code. Scaling worked, make models bigger, they got dramatically smarter. But the breakthrough came November 30th, 2022. ChatGPT launched. Within 5 days, 1 million users. Within 2 months, 100 million users. The fastest growing application in history. OpenAI's valuation jumped from $14 billion to $29 billion in 4 months. Microsoft announced $10 billion more. Google declared code red. Every CEO suddenly believed Altman was right. By 2024, OpenAI was generating $3.4 billion in revenue, except it costs $700,000 per day just to run ChatGPT. Add salaries, R&D, data centers, total burn rate, $5 billion per year. At current burn rate, OpenAI will run out of money by 2026. So why do investors keep giving Altman money? Here's how his system works. Every new model emphasizes what the next version will do. GPT-5 will be exponentially better. GPT-6, that might be AGI itself. This creates constant, we're almost there. Close enough investors believe far enough, they need to invest more. Altman owns zero equity in OpenAI. On paper, he's not motivated by money, but he has investments in over 400 companies. His net worth is $500 million to $1 billion. He doesn't need OpenAI equity. He needs OpenAI to validate AI as the future, making all his other investments worth fortunes. When Nvidia announces new GPUs, every AI company races to secure supply. Why? If your competitor has 2 times the GPUs, they might reach breakthrough capabilities first. Consider Google. They invented the transformer architecture, but when ChatGPT launched, Google was caught flat-footed. That mistake potentially cost hundreds of billions. Every CEO learned, in AI, being second is being last. This creates a prisoner's dilemma. If everyone slowed down together, they could develop AI safely. But if any company slows down alone, they risk losing everything. Altman frames any attempt to slow down as dangerous. Regulation becomes risky. Caution becomes weakness. The only safe move is to go faster. Once you're in this deep, you can't back out. Microsoft invested $13 billion. If they stop and OpenAI succeeds without them, Microsoft loses potentially hundreds of billions. So they must keep investing. Investors at a $157 billion valuation need it to grow or lose everything. Altman has staked his reputation on AGI through scaling. If he admits doubt, the structure collapses. Nobody can stop without potentially losing everything. It's a system with only two endings. Either AGI arrives and justifies everything, or it collapses when people realize it's not coming. When Altman was fired in November 2023, over 700 employees threatened to quit. Microsoft offered him a job immediately. The board was forced to reinstate him with even less oversight. This revealed something crucial. OpenAI isn't about the technology, it's about Sam Altman. His ability to attract talent, raise money, and convince the world that AGI is inevitable, that's what investors are buying. When one person convinces the world AI is everything, distortions ripple everywhere. In 2020, top AI researchers made $180,000. In 2024, they command $800,000 to $2 million at OpenAI or DeepMind. This created a brain drain from academia PhD candidates who might cure cancer, join AI labs because compensation is 5 times higher. Training GPT-4 used enough electricity to power 5,000 homes for a year. Microsoft is building a $100 billion data center just for AI. AI development is concentrating in maybe 5 to 7 companies globally. Everyone else is locked out. And at the center, Sam Altman. But while AI startups burn billions, some people are making fortunes. Nvidia's CEO is now worth over $100 billion. Cloud providers profit from renting compute whether AI companies succeed or fail. The money isn't being lost, it's being transferred. In October 2024, OpenAI raised $6.6 billion at $157 billion valuation. But buried in terms, if OpenAI doesn't restructure within 2 years, investors can demand money back. Internal documents leaked showing burn rate would exhaust reserves by 2026. GPT-5's gains were smaller than expected, raising questions about scaling. Multiple smaller AI companies have quietly collapsed. One VC speaking anonymously told Bloomberg, "We're not investing in the technology anymore. We're investing in Sam's ability to keep raising money. If that stops, the whole thing unravels." By 2025, Altman is in a race. Either deliver AGI breakthroughs that justify investment, or find new narratives to sustain belief. But Altman isn't slowing down, he's doubling down. In 2024, Altman proposed building global AI infrastructure costing $5 to $7 trillion over the next decade. The pitch: nations that invest will lead the next century. Nations that don't will fall behind. His proposal is in discussions with sovereign wealth funds in the UAE and Saudi Arabia. The UAE announced a $100 billion AI fund. Even the US government is discussing federal support as national security. Altman is attempting something unprecedented, making AI infrastructure too big to fail. If governments invest hundreds of billions, they can't let it collapse. Get so big, so interconnected, that failure would crash the system. Then the system must keep you alive. It's the same strategy that saved banks in 2008. So when people ask whether Sam Altman is a visionary or a con artist, the truth is he might be both. The question isn't whether this is a bubble. The question is whether the bubble produces something real before it pops. History shows the greatest innovations came from people who were simultaneously brilliant and reckless. Edison promised electricity while running a near-bankrupt company. The railroad boom saw massive speculation and collapses, but built infrastructure that powered American growth. The dot-com bubble destroyed hundreds of companies, but gave us Google, Amazon, and the modern internet. Altman's bet is AI follows the same pattern. Massive investment, chaos and losses, but ultimately something transformative emerges. But if he's wrong, then Sam Altman will be remembered as the man who convinced the world to gamble $7 trillion on a technology that was always just around the corner, but never quite arrived. Because in the end, this isn't about AI, it's about belief. Altman's superpower isn't building models, it's building conviction, getting the smartest people to look at massive losses and see future profits. And maybe that's exactly what it takes to build the future. Or maybe it's exactly what it takes to build the most expensive illusion in business history. We're spending more on AI annually than was invested in the entire dot-com boom. The question is whether it will change the world fast enough to justify what we're spending. Because a bubble isn't defined by how much you invest. It's defined by whether the returns justify the investment. And nobody really knows if we're building the future or the world's most expensive house of cards. We won't know until it's far too late to change our bets.